The Arctic Circle is the line around the globe north of which the sun does not rise at winter solstice or set below at summer solstice. Global climate change is expected to alter the Arctic and Antarctic bioregions faster than any other marine environment on Earth. Over the past 30 years, the average area covered by sea ice in the Arctic has decreased by about 8%, an area larger than Norway, Sweden, and Denmark combined. This development is changing the Arctic environment very fast and affects all the marine life. For this reason, Dr. Fridtjof Cooper from the Scottish Association for Marine Science is leading an international expedition to Baffin Island in the Arctic Circle of Canada to study the diversity and diseases of the region's little-known seaweeds. This expedition will constitute the first ever opportunity to document this Arctic seaweed ecosystem. Until only a few years ago, scientific expeditions to Baffin Island had to face sea ice, even during the summer. Today, it is remarkable that the sea is totally free of ice. For the following 15 days, the team is going to camp at a remote and inhospitable beach of Bay 11 near Cape Hot. Every day, the team performed 2 to 4 dives to collect seaweed specimens and sediment samples. Diving in such conditions needs special care, preparations, and equipment, especially when the nearest recompression chamber is several thousand miles away, and the only way to reach it is by airplane. Although this is the summer in Baffin, the divers still face a number of environmental challenges. The seawater temperatures are not that extreme by Arctic standards, 1 to 2 degrees were the lowest temperatures recorded, and immersion in water of those temperatures can still give dive times of 40 to 50 minutes in relative comfort. Algae are responsible for most of the photosynthetic oxygen production on Earth, and seaweeds, multicellular algae or macroalgae, make up most of the biomass on rocky shores in temperate and polar climates. Kelp forests are key ecosystems in coastal zones. Similar to forests on land, they provide cover for many other life forms. In particular, they are breeding grounds and are providing nursery areas and food for a wide range of marine organisms. Typically, most Arctic seaweeds live several meters below water level. This is due to the extreme environmental conditions at the sea surface. For about 8 months a year, the sea is covered by ice 1 to 2 meters thick, and the temperature can fluctuate from about -50 to +15 degrees Celsius between the winter and summer. Therefore, very few species can live at the sea surface, but at greater depth, marine life is very abundant. Macroalgae of the Arctic region are considered to be very sensitive to a reduction in ice coverage. because the life histories of many macroalgae are regulated by temperature and photoregimes, and furthermore the periodical scarring of the rocks by ice is essential for the recruitment of some taxa. Macroalgae are an essential element of the coastal ecosystems, and the degradation of macroalgal vegetation communities affects the entire ecosystem in an area. Following the dives, the scientists spend long hours every day studying the materials collected. Besides microscopic investigations, live isolates of algal cultures were frequently made. Also, seaweeds were dried on paper as herbarium specimens. Fjords are elongated bays of glacial origin. They are typical of polar and subpolar mountainous coasts around the world. Due to their peculiar topography, they are very sheltered environments, often with little currents and wave action. Platysophon and Platyarcticus are two endemic seaweeds of the American High Arctic. Recent molecular biology results have suggested that they are actually the same species, with Platysophon denominating the lifeform of the first year and Platyarcticus being the perennial lifeform. Sea urchins, as well as their famous relatives, sea stars, are echinoderms. The most fascinating point about these sea creatures is the way they devour their food. Sea stars eat with their stomachs outside their bodies, whereas urchins use strong, sharp teeth to scrape seaweed off the rocks. Icebergs drifting in ocean currents make contact and move through seabed sediments to create characteristically curvilinear features, commonly referred to as scours, which average 1 to 2 meters in depth and about 30 to 40 meters in width. Such scours may continue for several hundreds of meters or several kilometers. The period of seabed interaction may last from a few minutes to several months, and results in modification of both the seabed sediments and the iceberg keel. At the present time, only highly adaptable species can survive the extreme Arctic environment. However, as sea ice is disappearing and sea surface temperature is rising, an increasing number of subarctic species are expected to colonize the region. These species, which are currently living in the ice-free regions surrounding the Arctic, could even replace some of the indigenous Arctic species. It is also predicted that the number of migrating species between the North Atlantic and the North Pacific Oceans might rise through the increasingly ice-free Arctic. After the expedition, live isolates of macroalgae and their pathogens will be studied in state-of-the-art facilities at the Culture Collection of Algae and Protozoa at the Scottish Association for Marine Science at Oban in the United Kingdom, and at the Kobe University Macroalgal Culture Collection in Japan. Isolates will be investigated by established microscopic and molecular biological techniques. Direct impacts of global warming, such as higher temperatures, sea level rise, melting of sea ice and glaciers, have increased precipitation of scientists. The Arctic is currently the most rapidly warming region on planet Earth. Within a few years, this ecosystem that was the same for thousands of years will be dramatically changed. This is maybe our last chance to record life in the Arctic as it was for much of the Earth's recent history.